Welcome back, everyone, to Open Line. Talking about the impeachment trial day. Have with us Vanderbilt Professor Dr. Thomas Schwartz, Political Science Professor. Bunch of calls. So let's all try and keep them comments succinct. I'm going to go to Lucy here. Lucy, always great to hear from you. What is on your mind, Lucy?
Well, what's on my mind is I'm tired. I've been in Kentucky since this morning, and a friend of mine, he generally votes Republican, and he called the GOP the LGOPQ party, as in the loony, grand old party, QAnon party. I think he's had enough. He's kind of like me. He doesn't kind of trust him right now because it's getting a little bit too crazy. But I just, the guy that's the head of that, is it Proud Boys? I think he's gay. So, it's just so funny to me to see all these things, all these dog whistles that they use, and all these people are in their party, which I've said for years. But their policies are, it's kind of like, why is the captain of the big ship sitting in the Boston Harbor going to buy you free rum? Why? Because as soon as your dumb ass walks out of that saloon, he's going to put a hood on your head and take you off, and you're going to work on that ship for free. I think a lot of these people have been hoodwinked. You can sit there. I'm hearing some of the defenses from some of these lawyers saying, my client was brainwashed. I'm like, your client's 50 years old. Your client's a lawyer. Your client's this. And I'm sure Trump had a lot to do with this, because this is his club, his following, his movement. And when you aim it towards this country, and you're the leader of this country, and this is a democracy and not a fourth world country, we've got a problem.
All right, so let's talk about QAnon. I'm going to ask Dr. Schwartz about QAnon.
Well, I want to say one thing. I found out, and I'm going to ask whoever y'all know. I heard the governor bring this up in his State of the State the other day about they wouldn't have these problems if they did what Tennessee did when it comes to the ballots, I guess he was saying. I heard on the news that hardly any of those people that have been arrested so far even voted. And when it comes to Tennessee, what proportion of the population is it? 26% that actually vote here? I'm going to hang up and listen to y'all. Okay.
All right, a lot there. The voting, we're very low on the totem pole when it comes to voting. I don't know the actual percentage. I'm interested in, all right, QAnon. If you know the answer to that, please ring in, Dr. Schwartz. But QAnon, and where does the Republican Party go with the conspiracy QAnon? What damage has it done, if any? Does it strengthen? I mean, does it bring in more people? And what does the party do about it?
Well, I think they probably, my own view is they should treat it the way they did at various times the John Birch Society back in the 60s, which was a very radical anti-communist organization that really had all sorts of conspiratorial views of what was going on. Ultimately, those things damage your party, and I think the Republican Party has to separate itself from that. There are, of course, yes, there are QAnon devotees and that, but there's no doubt in my mind that is more alienating to the mainstream or to the voters that the Republican Party needs than it is in any way helpful. So in that sense, I think they have to distance themselves and denounce it and try to deal with people like Marjorie Taylor Greene there and basically isolate her.
All right, let's go to Bob. Hello, Bob.
Oh, good evening, Dallas. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
The professor touched on some of the answer, maybe, of what I'm going to say, but I think Trump did a job of uncovering the swamp and giving us a clue to the extent of it that we didn't have before. And my observation would be that in all likelihood, more people voted for Trump than voted for Biden. Now, let me explain. If you subtract out the people that voted against Trump and the people that voted against Biden, I think the net result would be that there were actually more people voting for Trump than were voting for Biden.
I see what you're
Biden
saying.
had a significant group voting against Trump, and I'll quit with that.
Yeah, the idea that a lot of people just voted against President Trump. I think that's kind of what he's saying.
Yeah.
That's what Biden.
No, and I think he won. Joe Biden, an honorable man, all sorts, but doesn't inspire that sort of passion. I think this election was essentially about Donald Trump, and more people disliked him and voted against him than voted for him, but that the people who voted for him, he did win a large number of votes, so a second largest number in American history.
All right, let's go to Joe. Hello, Joe.
Hello.
Go right ahead.
Hey, thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to make a comment that my perspective is that government is just entirely too large. The federal government was never intended to be as powerful as it is. I happen to have voted for Trump twice, and I will tell you that a lot of people that voted for Trump don't even like him as a person. As myself, we voted for Trump, or at least I voted for Trump, because he represented the opposite of big government. He didn't represent somebody that I would go hang out with, or somebody that I even agree with in a lot of areas. But the fact that there's a lot of people in this country that are still just trying to raise their family, and they're trying to instill the fear of God in their children, and they just want their country back. And unfortunately, the government and the media have us all thinking that we are supposed to hate each other, and that's not the case. I work in a job where I deal with all sorts of people. We go to their homes and we see them, and these people are all different walks of life, and people are the same across the country. We have families, we have loved ones, and a lot of these things that we fight about and that we argue about don't seem to matter to normal people. We just want jobs, and we want to be able to support our family.
And you feel like President Trump did that, gave you the best chance for that, even though you didn't like him personally?
Yeah, it wasn't even about President Trump. It was about putting a stick in the spokes of government to say, hey, we're still here.
All right, well, let's talk about it. I appreciate that, Joe. I really appreciate that. So there's some insight. What do you think of what Joe said there?
I think he's absolutely right. I think there was a substantial chunk of Trump voters who did not like him. I think this was more the case probably in 2016 in the sense that Hillary Clinton, because of her record and her past, tended to evoke more of this disdain, that just the fact that, more government, the swamp, all of that. But I think that is absolutely the case, that there's a very powerful within American history, but also as a part of our ongoing divisions in our society, people don't like that much government. And, there are a lot of people who want more government involvement, for example, in healthcare or in other areas. And there are other people who want to be more left alone and feel like government is tilted in a way that they don't approve of. And they were inclined to vote for Donald Trump, who was a disruptor of government.
Disruptor, no doubt about it. All right, Pat. Hello, Pat.
Yes.
Go right ahead.
Hello. Thank you for accepting my call. I was wondering, if they do impeach a president, does he lose his pension and his bodyguards and all the perks that come with it?
An interesting question. I think he loses his pension, but I don't know. Dr. Schwartz, what about that? Do you know?
I think not. I don't. This is a very interesting question. I thought that I did see something about this that said that he did not lose at least the pension. Secret Service, that would be very problematic because there are significant threats against Trump, and I think that would be controversial. I think probably it would take another vote of Congress to figure out what he would lose, or if he was actually convicted. Of course, this rests on the idea that he's convicted, and so I don't think there's been a great deal of speculation because there's so much doubt that he would be convicted. But it's a very interesting point. I would think Congress might have to make some decisions on that. But I would find that Richard Nixon, of course, when he resigned, did not lose his pension or his bodyguards. The Secret Service was certainly there. Now I realize that's different, but still, it would seem to me that probably is unlikely.
And one reason you have bodyguards, you protect the president from being kidnapped, I understand, and he has all kinds of knowledge and secrets and that kind of thing. Certainly protect his life as well. But okay.
Yes, yeah.
That's an interesting point. Okay, we'll take a break. Maybe we can get another call. Take a break. Be back right after this.